It all started with Coach K college basketball from 1995 for the Sega Genesis. Did not come out for the Super Nintendo. This was a Sega Genesis exclusive. And this was the beginning of college hoops for EA. This game uses the NBA Live 95 engine, which was running impressively on both the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis. Surprisingly, again, it didn't come out for the Super Nintendo, but you see that isometric view on the court. You also see something neat there where you see a view behind the free throw shooter right down at court level, which is pretty exciting. And there's a laundry list of features that are included here. On-the-fly play calling, 50 offensive sets, all new animations. You can shatter the backboard in this game. Team player and user stats can be saved. 32-game season play, customizable tournaments, weekly top 25 poll. All of that in a 16-bit game. This game is very impressive. If you own a Sega Genesis, I recommend that you go and pick this up, especially right now because it is college hoop season after all. We just went through Selection Sunday. We are getting ready to kick off the 2021 Big Dance. Everyone's getting excited. Everyone's filling out brackets. And if you're looking to play some college hoops 16-bit style, this is the way to go. I have opened up NCAA basketball for the Super Nintendo on this show before. I talked about that. You can play that as well. But that's not why we're here today. We're here to take a look at what happened after Coach K college basketball, because that was the last college hoops game for the next couple of years. Why? We've talked about the fact that EA struggled out of the gate with the 32-bit generation, having games like Madden 96 and NHL 96 not see the light of day for the Saturn or for the PlayStation. EA was kind of figuring out its identity at that time and was struggling a little bit. And while it did manage to get a version of NBA Live 96 and FIFA 96 available for the PlayStation, games like NHL and Madden were missing. So it took a little bit of time for EA to kind of get its act together and get things going. And once it did, as it started to get used to the 32-bit generation and used to the development cycle, we started to see changes. And we started to see changes for the better. Madden 97, a game that I still think very highly of because of its use of full motion video for presentation purposes. NHL 97, again using a lot of FMV with John Davidson. NBA Live 97, PGA Tour 97, we were starting to see EA come into its own in the 32-bit generation, and not a moment too soon. But something that was missing were the college games. Where was the college football game? Where was the college basketball game? Coach K college basketball was great. Where was the sequel? Well, you had to wait until the 1998 sports year in order to get a college basketball game, and it was the first in a what would prove to be a long-running series of college hoops games, not only for the PlayStation, but also for the PlayStation 2, for the Xbox, and for the GameCube. This right here is NCAA March Madness 98 with the big fundamental, Tim Duncan on the front cover there, number 21 for Wake Forest. This is the first NCAA March Madness game. Can you believe it? The very first one. And we have a sealed copy to open here on this episode of Unsealed, as well as one more surprise in just a little bit. Are you ready for the madness? That is what this game is asking us, again, with its list of features that we'll go over here shortly. You can see what the visuals look like, and again, you have to keep in mind that this is 1997 or the 1998 sports year. This looked pretty decent, and again, it is a college hoops game during a time when we didn't have a lot of college hoops games, so there was some hype and some excitement over this game, as well there should have been. You can call plays on the fly, again, just like Coach K college basketball. Accurate college rankings and stats. 107 Division I-A teams and 9 top women's teams. Preseason and conference tournaments. Create players, build stats, custom tournaments up to 64 teams. So why deal with the rankings as they are? Just make your own. Make your own big dance and let the teams play it out. There's a momentum meter in this game, college-style arenas and gyms, team-specific fight songs and chants, authentic college uniforms and logos, and much more. This was exciting, and this is exciting right now that we get to go ahead and open this game up. So, without further delay, we're going to go ahead and try and get this game open. I'm hoping this isn't going to... There we go. I actually can get this off without much delay. So let's go ahead and get this done. I'm excited about this one because it is college hoop time. And I really still have to fill out my my brackets, but that's a story for another time. There we go. We do have the ID seal at the top of the game, by the way, March Madness 98. Let me move that closer to the camera. And let's go ahead and take this off, and then we will go ahead and get this open and see what's on the inside. I don't think there's going to be much here. At this particular point in time, EA wasn't packing a lot of extra stuff in the games, so I think we're just going to get the disc and an instruction manual here. But I could be mistaken. So when we open the case very carefully, we actually do get something extra. We get the EA Sports It's in the Game catalog, which I believe we've seen on this show before. And we get the disc again with the big fundamental. That would be Tim Duncan. He is there on the disc art. Plus, we have an ad for NASCAR 98 as well. I could go on and on about the 1998 sports year from EA. What a job that EA did that year with almost all of its sports games. I was really impressed with what I had seen that year, and some of my favorite sports games for the PlayStation come from that particular sports year. So, when we take a look inside of the instruction manual, we do see Welcome to the Big Dance right there. No one plays this game for a paycheck. No one wants to be traded to the other team. They play for the love of the game. Okay. In college hoops, the only thing that means more than beating your rival is bringing home a win for your school. Every game is do or die. Every possession is a war. Every fan is a fanatic. When it all blows up in March, the result is pure madness. Ncaa March Madness 98. So you've got a difference between exhibition, season, tournament, some user stats as well. The user stats screen talks about that. Game rules, you can adjust how the game is called any way you want. You want it to be arcade with no fouls, go for it. You want to make it very realistic or simulation aspected, you can play it that way too. You want to play a little bit of both, go ahead and do it. The world is your oyster with this particular game, the way that you can set it up. There's a team select screen where you have some offense, defense, and overall stats. Of course, you're seeing Duke there, and Duke is Duke, of course. Shows you how to play the game. I do believe this feels a bit like NBA Live 98, which is not a bad thing. I actually like NBA Live 98 quite a bit. Talks about play calling, where you can choose plays or call currently assigned plays where you're going to be hitting R2 and then hitting the appropriate face button to call the play that you so desire. If I'm being completely honest, I do not call plays when I am playing these basketball games. I let the coach call plays, and I'm just executing on the floor. If I'm being even more honest, I don't know a lot about basketball strategy, so me calling plays doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense. But that's neither here nor there. So you do see, they show you some replay angles and cameras. You can see it looks like that game is taking place in Arizona there. There are coaching options. I mean, it's all here. Now, is it perfect? Absolutely not. It is not perfect. This is 1997, after all. We're only a couple of years into PlayStation development. There are some issues with frame rate, and there are some issues with the visuals that they really don't stand up today. It's not like you would necessarily run right out and want to play this game straight away like you could when you're playing Coach K college basketball, for example, where I think the graphics still stand up. But I think this game is fun to play, and I think that it's important for a variety of reasons. The most important of those reasons, of course, is the fact that it's the very first March Madness game. So you can see where this series has gone since then. You can take a look at then versus now. Of course, it's been some time since we've seen a college hoops game. The last game that EA put out for college basketball was NCAA Basketball 10, which was now 12 years ago. So it has certainly been a while since we have seen a college hoops game. Season play, there is a note that the women's teams cannot be used in season or tourney mode, which is kind of unfortunate. But you can play through a full season. There are no dynasties yet. This is still a little bit before dynasties were a thing, so it's just getting through a season and trying to make it to the big dance. Or you can just go right to the tournament where rankings, hype, and conference championships are meaningless. So you can go ahead and set your dance card the way you want and have any team in it that you so choose. Rosters can be adjusted, of course. And there's a whole list of motion capture and development and artwork and everything here. It's really cool to see. NCAA March Madness 98, the first of its kind. And of course, we would see more NCAA March Madness games to come, not only for the PlayStation, but also for the PlayStation 2. And that brings us to our bonus feature for this episode of Unsealed, because I do have one more college hoops game to open. This is one that I've been sitting on for a little bit, and I thought it made sense to go ahead and open it up since it has been sitting for a while. This is from the 2007 sports year, and has a Gonzaga player on the front. I think that's Morrison. I think. No place like home is what the back of the case says. Find the hot hand. Complete ESPN access. Of course, that doesn't exist anymore because the servers are unfortunately offline. All new sideline general mode. Call all the shots on your way to building a dynasty and guide your school to the NCAA championship. Upgraded Dynasty Mode. You can scout upcoming games, and you can take your game online. Now, you may remember that if a couple of years ago, I opened up a lot of the March Madness games alongside the college hoops games from 2K. So again, we were fighting between EA Sports and 2K, but 2K was kind of sort of in the picture, but didn't have the ESPN license anymore, and March Madness was really taking the lead, at least in terms of college hoops games. Whether that's fair or not is debatable, because 2K was doing a great job with its college hoops games, despite the fact that the presentation struggled a little bit because of the loss of the ESPN license. Had 2K managed to stick around and had the NCAA not bailed on college basketball games because of licensing and some other factors, if 2K was still involved, I can only imagine how good a college hoops game from 2K would be now with all of the licensing and presentation and other skills that Visual Concepts has brought to the table. I think it would be really great. Let's go ahead and get this guy open, because this one's been sitting for a little while in my pile. This was a $29.99 game, and then it got marked down to like $9.99 because it was after the season. All right. And of course, there is not an ID sticker here, because by the 2006-2007 years, we weren't doing ID stickers anymore. Those were kind of out of here. When we open the case, I think there's not a lot to see. We do see the character artwork. We also see a black and white instruction manual, and the instruction manuals are very thin at this point. We're not getting a lot of information from these. But we'll take a look and see what there is. I think there's like 10 pages. Not even, like 8 pages worth. Just showing us basic controls, how to get started. Like 3 of the pages are just showing us the how the controller is set up. I want to see if there's anything about gameplay modes here. You can play now. There's a go-to guy mode here. Step up, make an immediate impact, and take over when the game's on the line. Now you can in NCAA March Madness 07 with the all-new go-to guy feature, which enables one player on your team to receive a temporary ratings boost for a short period of time. How long he remains the go-to guy depends on how well he performs. The better he does, the longer it lasts. That is interesting. I like that idea quite a bit. You have the EA Sports Lockdown Stick, EA Sports Freestyle Control. Those are holdovers from NBA Live. Floor general play calling, dribble handoff, quick plays, off-ball switching, arena pulse. If your school is ranked in one of the top 25 toughest places to play, the crowd can provide you with the advantage you need to defeat the opposition. That is pretty cool. Dynasty Mode is here. You can go to training camp. There's Dynasty Central with a calendar there. Coaching options, player violations. Players can get themselves into trouble, so it's up to you to make sure the team rules are enforced. Take action when GPAs drop or when rules are broken, or your school may suffer the consequences. You need to decide when to suspend players for a single game or the entire season. If you don't take action, or if your academic progress rate is too low, the NCAA may limit your school's scholarships, TV appearances, or its participation in either of the postseason tournaments. That's pretty cool, too. If I'm being honest, I have not done a lot of Dynasty Modes in college hoops games just because I have not had the time, but I like how some of this plays out. If you don't have the time, if you're like me where you can only play through a single season, this game does offer you season play, as well as tournament modes, college classics, where you can replay some of college basketball's most memorable games, and also rivalry games as well. Plus, you can put all the mascots on the court if you so desire. So that is pretty neat. Unfortunately, with the March Madness games, those did go away, as did NCAA basketball in general, and we have not seen anything, like I said, since the 2010 sports year. So it's been over a decade. We are definitely in need of a college hoops game. All of this clamoring for college basketball to come back, which it is coming back thanks to EA, that's great. But what about college hoops? Every March, we are waiting for more college hoops games to live out our fantasies, whether our alma mater's going to the big dance, or whether we want our alma mater to go to the big dance, or maybe we just wish we were on the court with everyone else. It is high time for a college hoops game to come out, whether it's licensed or not. I really do think that we deserve one, and maybe, just maybe, we'll see one at some point down the road. As always, I thank you for taking the time to watch this episode of Unsealed. Good luck to all of you in your bracket pools, whatever they may be. And we will do this again real soon. Until the next time, my friends, take care of yourselves and each other. See you later.